been covering all this stuff for a long time.
I was watching this YouTube video.
Time.
You're not gonna judge my dresser top because I don't have the best skill at decluttering. If you want it decluttered, then come declutter it.
And the mainstream media is miles behind, arguably even covering it up.
So
But we're
there's like
only now seeing a few.
an ongoing, it's not even a conspiracy, it's like confirmed people are going missing. Actually, let me double check because I feel like this is probably buffering really bad. Is this buffering as bad as I think it is? Where did my hair go? Right. I see. Trying to see if it's skipping. Testing, testing. Okay, what's going on? Okay, I see what's going on. Everything's fine.
Two major networks just beginning to cover the basics of this
Ugh,
story.
annoying.
But the Sentinel Network has been covering this for a while. They're at the cutting edge of this, and they're finding more and more bodies related to these research projects every single day. So it says they're running it now. 1 week ago, we published the long count. 9 names connected to the Defense Aerospace Corridor. Deaths and disappearances spanning 9 months. We mapped the AFRL funding chain. We documented the institutional silence. We laid out the Marconi parallel. We said nobody was looking at this list as a list. In 7 days, the wall cracked. CNN ran the McCaslin story with details that we...
I don't know if I want to start with Apex or start with Nails. I said the last time I was on that I wanted to start 2 different sets, even though I already had 2 other half-finished sets. So, I don't know.
surfaced about his AFRL command history. Fox News did the same and mapped the 1 hour vanishing window.
That's not
ABC
yellow.
News ran our connections and detailed the search operations. Newsweek
There
brought
we
in
go.
a former
I was
FBI
like,
agent
what
and
is
talked about
wrong?
details first covered here. And on Saturday,
It's supposed to be
News
yellow.
Nation reported the connection this publication documented first. That Monica Jacinto Reza, the inventor of Mondaloy, vanished 9 months before the general who oversaw the budget that funded her work. They named the specific directorate the Air Force Research Laboratory Space Vehicles Directorate, AFRL, SVD. None of them credited us. That's fine. I'm crediting you guys, all right? We're standing strong. We're rocking with the Sentinel Network.
Blast. I just forget all the time that I must watch me videos on me other account
for a long time, and the mainstream media is miles behind, arguably even covering it up. But we're only now seeing a few major networks just beginning to cover the basics of this story. But the Sentinel Network has been covering this for a while. They're at the cutting edge of this, and they're finding more and more bodies related to these research projects every single day. So it says they're running it now. 1 week ago, we published the long count. 9 names connected to the Defense Aerospace Corridor. Deaths and disappearances spanning 9 months. We mapped the AFRL funding chain. We documented the institutional silence.
I unfortunately really, really want to listen to music, but my stupid ass has not paid my Spotify membership. And so now I don't have premium. And I don't want to listen to ads. But I wanted to jam out earlier. And it cornered me. It was like, hey, are you going to pay the bill? It's like, not right now. They're like, okay, well, you're going to have to listen to an ad every other song. Sorry.
We laid out the Marconi parallel. We said nobody was looking at this list as a list. In 7 days, the wall cracked. CNN ran the McCaslin story with details that we surfaced about his AFRL command history. Fox News did the same and mapped the 1 hour vanishing window. ABC News ran our connections and detailed the search operations. Newsweek brought in a former FBI agent and talked about details first covered here. And on Saturday, News Nation reported the connection this publication documented first. That Monica Jacinto Reza, the inventor of Mondaloy, vanished 9 months before the general who oversaw the budget that funded her work. They named the specific directorate the Air Force Research Laboratory Space Vehicles Directorate, AFRL, SVD. None of them credited us. That's fine. I'm crediting you guys, all right? We're standing strong. We're rocking with the Sentinel Network.
I just heard this.
None of them credited us. That's fine. The point was never credit. Hopefully they'll mention me on here one day. That'll be fire. The point was that somebody with subpoena authority would look at the list as a list. That's now happening. While the networks ran our connections, we kept investigating. This briefing contains 2 new names, new evidence on existing cases, and a question that connects 2 Sentinel investigations that were supposed to be separate. We'll take them in order. They're about to blow this shit wide open. Okay, look at this space technology right here, right? The instrument manager. On July the 4th, 2024, Frank Werner Mywald, 61, died in Los Angeles nearly a year before anyone else in this investigation vanished or was killed. Mywald was a technical group supervisor at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. His obituary and his publication trail on the NASA Technical Report Server document a career spanning radiometry, terahertz spectroscopy.
I don't know. I'm
Spectroscopy
trying to find
and
color schemes.
orbital
Oh,
remote sensing. Okay, I'm not.
I did not use this the last time I went live, even though I've had it. I set it up. I have this voice now. Whenever I get like really fucking mad, which is often, I'm not that upset right now. But I'll probably want to use this whenever I do get upset. Or if I just feel like speaking prophetic messages, which like is all the time. But I'm not gonna keep it on all the time. But I really like tritone voices. I know they call it robot voices. But I want it to sound demonic. I don't want it to sound robotic. So I'm really happy about this addition. So now I can just press that button. So don't piss me off on stream, because then I'll just demon voice you. It's a threat.
Not smart enough for some of this stuff, but we're going to learn it together, okay? He managed the development of the SBG VSWIR instrument, a visible shortwave infrared spectrometer designed for the Surface Biology and Geology mission. He had previously overseen the successful delivery of instruments for the AMRC program and contributed to AMR SWOT-COWVR, AMR JASON 3, and the HIFI. These are not obscure academic instruments. Visible shortwave infrared spectroscopy detects anomalous surface emissions and identifies materials from orbit. Advanced microwave radiometry enables all-weather target tracking and maritime domain awareness. The civilian applications are climate monitoring and oceanography, but the defense applications are intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. The technology is inherently dual use, and MyWorld managed programs on both sides of that line. So what this is saying is basically he was working on technology that could be used to monitor anything, anyone, no matter the weather.
Viewing.
And, you know, it could be used to monitor the weather, or it could be used by governments to maintain intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, and find people that maybe don't want to be found.
I need a butt pillow for this chair as well. I have one for my car and one for my nail table, but I need one for my desktop because I can definitely feel my tailbone being crushed. I'm so annoyed that I even know that it's my tailbone, but I can feel it, and I really don't like it. It sucks. I hate it.
Now, his obituary contains no cause of death. No illness is mentioned. No decline is described. He was born on June the 24th, 1964.
June 24th? That's me mother's birthday.
In Ratingen, Germany. Educated at the University of Cologne, he's survived by a wife of 25 years.
Also, me cousin's birthday. Me cousins and me mother share a birthday.
His father and his siblings. Entries in the public memorial guest book from his colleagues make clear that the death was sudden. Colleagues noted that he'd been actively engaged in ongoing projects and making plans for the future. The shock documented by his peers is not the language of a long illness. There was no press release from JPL, no memorial statement from NASA, no acknowledgement from Caltech, no local news coverage from the LA Times, Pasadena Star News, or any regional outlet. No entry located in the LA County Medical Examiner's public database. His obituary is the only public record that Frank Werner MyWorld even existed and then stopped existing. Sus. JPL is where Monica Razor was working when she vanished 11 months later. Caltech IPAC, where Carl Grillmair ran quality assurance on the NeoWise data pipeline, is the same institutional family. 3 people from the Southern California Aerospace Corridor. Razor invented the alloy. Grillmair validated the sensor pipeline. MyWorld managed the instruments. All 3 of them gone. Very, very suspicious, right? So the senior JPL technical group supervisor managing cutting-edge dual-use remote sensing instruments died suddenly at 61. No cause of death disclosed. No acknowledgement. The same silence that met the deaths and disappearances of Razor, Grillmair, and the Wright-Patterson personnel. I met MyWorld nearly a year earlier. If this pattern has a beginning, it might be here, Independence Day 2024. The question we have to ask. 3 days ago, we published a special report, The Sky is Falling. 11 confirmed fireball events in 20 days. 3 meteorite falls reaching the ground. Since our report, 4 additional structures struck on 2 continents, bringing the total to 7. 2 daytime airbursts with sonic booms over major American cities 4 days apart. No major active shower, no known debris stream. ESA's planetary defense team assessed that the Koblenz object was a size class that impacts Earth infrequently and is often undetected by current sky surveys. So it says, The system designed to close that detection gap is NEO Surveyor, the first space telescope built to find objects.
I want to see, because this is stuff that I watch while I'm eating. He had a couple other videos up, but I wanted to watch Who in the fuck is this? Damn, I'm not even. Dude, I actually do want
Folks,
to watch
when
this.
it comes to this Iran war, there's a whole big rich club making a whole bunch of money from this war, and you're not in it. Okay, apparently
And you're not
there
in
have
it.
been a select number of people making insider bets, insider trades on everything going on in the Iran war, and they're absolutely sweeping up. Meanwhile, your portfolios and my portfolio is getting absolutely hammered. It is a joke, and I'm going to reveal it all to you in this video. Everyone's getting exposed, right? I've had it, right? So this is a breakdown on Sky News. And it's basically explaining how there's been some very suspicious purchases and sales in the oil markets, both before and after Trump's ceasefire announcements.
Normally, in these screens, in the last few weeks, we've been talking about the economic implications of the Iran war. But this time, I want to talk about something else. It's kind of a mystery story. It's a mystery story. And the mystery begins with this. This was the Donald Trump social media post, Truth Social, that for a lot of people made them think that maybe this war might be coming to an end. At the very least, it had a big impact on markets. And the thing I want you to focus on is not necessarily the text of this, but it's the time it came out. 11:05, that's UK time, so 11:05 in the UK. It was morning, earlier in the morning in the US, obviously. And look at the impact that this had, okay? So this is showing you the crude oil price. It's the US kind of benchmark of the crude oil price, WTI as it's known. And you can probably spot already the moment that Donald Trump post happened. The oil price went down really sharply. And we've had lots of ups and downs, lots of volatile days on markets in recent days. But this was something else, as traders went out there and they basically said, we're selling oil because we think that things might get a little bit better. But here's what I want to focus on that you don't normally see in these charts. Not just the price, so that's the oil price, but the volumes. You can actually look at this. You can look at just how many people are buying and selling at any given moment. And have a look at volumes. So these bars are showing you the volume. So at the given moment that obviously that Donald Trump post happened, you had this massive increase in a lot of people going out there into the market and saying, look, something's happening. We need to actually act on it. For the most case, selling at this point. But here's the curious thing, and here's kind of where the mystery is. I want to kind of zoom in on this area here. So I'll kind of zoom in so you can see this is just the volumes of people going into that oil market and kind of, for the most part, selling after that Donald Trump post. You can see there's this real spike in activity, a lot of people going in there, kind of this frenzy, and that's the kind of flip side of prices. But look at this. 15 minutes before that Donald Trump post, there was a very big amount of trading volume, very big. In fact, actually, when you're looking at that amount of volume, that spike, that was the biggest trading volume that we saw that day. We're starting here just at 8 o'clock in the morning. We're going through to that moment of the Donald Trump post. Relatively quiet volumes, not much going on in the market, and then all of a sudden that. And if you're wondering, okay, maybe this was just a one-off, it was someone who made a lucky bet, have a look not just at this. So this is WTI, it's one measure, the US measure of oil. Have a look at Brent, which is the kind of the European, seen as the international measure of oil. Again, the same thing. Donald Trump makes his post, flurry of activity, lots of people there. But look at that. Again, 15 minutes before that Donald Trump post, a very big trade. Now, it's unclear whether it's just an individual or whether it's a kind of group of people, but what you do know from just imputing what the potential value, the notional value of those trades just on oil would be, it is staggering amounts of money, life-changing amounts of money, $580 million. Someone has just made a real killing on this. And it's not just oil. So that's oil, two different measures of oil. But now have a look at the S&P 500. So this is S&P 500 futures. It's the biggest
what if this
kind of
is like for
stock
fucking
market,
gambling?
equity
Like, is
market
that the
in the world. Same thing again. Donald Trump posts, the price goes up because people are getting very hopeful. Volumes go up at the same time. And if we zoom into the volumes once again, what do you see? Obviously, there's the volume after Donald Trump made his post, but 15 minutes before, this is actually 10:50 UK time, a very, very big trade.
Big old club. You're not allowed to be part of it, okay? Now, it's not just the actual traders either, it's also the gamblers. Apparently, a single Polymarket user has officially cleared over $1 million in profit by wagering on the Iran war.
Someone made nearly $1 million betting on the Iran war, and they beat the odds so dramatically that it's raising eyebrows. Now, we don't know who they are, but they have placed dozens of remarkably accurate bets on Polymarket, a prediction platform where people can wager on everything from sports to elections to warfare. We exclusively got this data from Bubble Maps, an analytics company that tracks blockchain transactions. The data shows that the trader placed some bets just hours before the U.S.-Israeli surprise attack against Iran last month. And last year, they correctly predicted U.S. strikes against Iranian nuclear facilities in June. Their winning streak actually goes back to 2024, when they made a quick $41,000 with a bet placed hours before Israeli airstrikes in October. The experts I spoke to said that the accounts behind these trades had a lot of the hallmarks of potential insider trading activity, specifically because of the timing, that these bets came shortly before unannounced military operations. This is why the experts were alarmed. Most bettors, shrewd bettors that know how to do this, they usually have about a 50% win rate, 51, 52%. That's how they make their money. But this trader, for their Iran-related bets, they had a win rate that was over 80%. And if you look at their big bets, over $10,000, their win rate was 93%. Staggering. Now, all of these Iran trades occurred on Polymarket's international website, which is out of reach of U.S. federal regulations that prohibit insider trading. That's one of the reasons why a lot of members of Congress are trying to crack down on these prediction sites. We reached out to Polymarket for comment. They did not respond, but they
So it doesn't count as insider trading.
did recently announce new rules that restricts insider activity on their platforms.
No shit, right? Of course they're going to do that. They're losing millions of dollars to whoever is responsible. Now, in the comments, they're thinking it's Barron Trump. Now, I could look into that in a little bit more detail another time for you guys, but it's definitely suspect, all right? Definitely very suspect. So this pattern of high-stakes geopolitical wagering has actually been well established before the Iran war. People were making money on the Venezuela shit, all types of stuff. And the fact that we even have Polymarket in this day and age is actually bizarre.
This is major legal news. While Americans are struggling at home, a few government insiders are making massive profits by betting on war. They use an online gambling account called Polymarket, and here an account called MAGA My Man placed a bet on exactly when the U.S. would strike Iran. That account turned an $87,000 bet into over $500,000 by placing their wager exactly 71 minutes before the first missile struck. But as bad as that sounds, it actually gets worse. At least 6 other Polymarket accounts profited over $1.2 million by betting that the U.S. would strike Iran on February 28th. These accounts placed their bets within hours or even minutes of the strikes. They had little or no prior betting history, which means the timing of this war was the one bet they knew they could win. Yet still, there is more fuckery afoot here. Over $500 million was wagered on various bets related to the Iran war on Polymarket this weekend. And similar bets were made moments before the U.S. struck Venezuela back in January. And there's a common thread between these bets and the people making them that is absolutely chilling. The bets are being placed by new or relatively new accounts. Some accounts place small decoy bets so that they don't look like insiders. Others don't even bother. The bets are made on very specific questions, such as exactly when a U.S. strike will occur, which leads anyone with 2 eyeballs and a brain to conclude government insiders are using your tax dollars to fund wars, which they then gamble on using insider information to make massive profits while bombs fall. It is not a trading opportunity. This is corruption. But I want to know what you think. Is there any shot that these bets were placed not by government insiders? And even if they weren't, should this even be allowed? Let me know what you think below, and be sure to follow to stay in the loop. This is
I personally think it is definitely true that government insiders...
How long has that been happening, though? I have no idea. I honestly am not the best at... Stop it. Dude, I'm scared to even play Apex because the last time I did, the FPS got all fucked up and then it wasn't even like synced. It was super annoying. What's the point? Can't even play my game. And I get so carried away too, so I don't even notice that it's all mismatched. And I keep playing. I don't refresh anything. Stupid. the hell? Why? Like, get better. I'm not even...
Family members are responsible for what's going on. Now, what's crazy is that the rise of these markets has actually led to direct threats against journalists, and it's prompted formal calls for investigation by the US Senate.
As we've seen in sports, athletic figures, including college athletes, being berated by people who lost bets because they didn't get a rebound. Well, we have our first example of a war reporter getting this. The Washington Post reporting on a Times of Israel reporter who's been getting death threats because of something he reported about an Iranian strike that lost someone money because they bet about the strike on Polymarket. And this, I think this is the first example I've seen of this, but I just was curious to get your reaction to it because you've been ringing the alarm bells about how insidious this entire thing is.
Yeah, I introduced legislation with Representative Greg Casar today to ban the ability for these prediction markets to offer bets on government action. And it's just insidious because we know that there have been people inside the Trump White House that have been making bets on war with Iran. Now, nobody should be making money off of life and death. These are essentially bets on when dozens of people are going to die in Israel or in Iran. But it's worse than that because it allows people close to the president who have made a bet on, let's say, a strike happening on a particular day to give advice to the president based on what makes them money rather than what's best for national security. So there should be a complete prohibition on anybody being able to wager on life, death, famine, or frankly, any other national security decision that's being made at the White House. And hopefully people will see some merit in our legislation.
So it's honestly a dystopian hellscape that we're now living
Yeah,
in.
dude, like, what the fuck? Like, I don't even, like, what am I supposed to do? What do I fucking do about that? What do I do? What do I do? Like, I used to be so doomer, and ever since I started taking my anxiety medication, it's been much easier to kind of go to the, you know, what do I do? The very nihilistic view where a lot of people have, where they just don't feel like they can really like do anything to change it. I miss having anxiety because it made me want to do something, but like now I just kind of, I don't know, stress kills. That's been like my huge thing. So I had like a really hard time at the end of 2024. It was so brutal. And I wasn't gonna, I kept telling my grandfather at the time and my boyfriend at the time who was, or my grandfather at the time, he's still my grandpa, but my boyfriend at the time, that I was like, dude, like, whatever I'm doing right now is not going to sustain itself. Like, I think I need a little boost on something. It's just not going to work. Like, I can tell that, you know, for what the numbers, it's not even I can tell. The numbers right now are not going to keep me afloat through the winter unless I get a cushion under this thing or that thing. And I got shrugged off, and I did eventually lose track of my sales and nails, and then stopped posting consistently on my nail account, which is what was bringing in all my sales. And I just broke down because I was like, I feel like I'm really, really, really clear and factual and practical, and I'm still being ignored, so I just stopped doing anything. Like, I just was like, okay, clearly this is not something I can do right now, and I'm just gonna focus on surviving. That is not what I wanted at all. I wanted the picture I just got out of Lightroom. Why are you giving me a video? That's not what I wanted. Now I'm getting pissed. Stress really kills though. So now that like I'm interested in what's going on in the world, I quote unquote monitor the situation, but I'm not about to just like stress myself out on what I would do next. I can't. This is not what I want. I don't want to make a reel. I want to post a story.
can gamble on world events, and, you know, eyebrows are being raised that maybe the people making decisions about world events are gambling on them too. It's very twisted. Now, in January
Very
2026, somebody
twisted
actually
and
successfully wagered a
daisy.
bet on the capture of
Fuck.
Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela right before it happened. I wonder who.
A more than $400,000 mystery has been uncovered following the capture of former Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. Just hours before news actually broke of the military operation, an anonymous user on a prediction market placed a significant bet that Maduro would be out of power by the end of the month. The perfectly timed wager is raising questions about possible insider knowledge with national security implications. Senior business and technology correspondent Joe Ling Kent has more on this.
I don't know. You hear that, right? In the background, it sounds like that text tone. Oh my god, it gives me PTSD. Because my Mimi had that text tone, the bing, 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 bing. My Mimi used to have it so loud because, you know, she was like about to be 70. So she wanted, and plus she was like a really social person. So I think she always wanted to know who was hitting her up. She had like nurse friends, military friends, just friends. She had lots of people hitting her up all the time. I just remember hearing it like after school or something. Or like if her phone was ringing, I'd be like, Mimi, W dot, like some weird last name, like some old head ass last name is calling. It's calling you. What? Someone is calling you! Ah! And I gotta bring the phone across the house because she's just like doing something and not listening to what I said. I used to hate that shit. Yo, you gotta hear it though, it's back.
The perfectly timed wager is raising questions about possible insider knowledge with national security implications. Senior business and technology correspondent Joe Ling Kent has more on this story.
It's back, it's in there.
The night before the U.S.
Possible insider knowledge with national security implications. Senior business and technology correspondent Joe Ling Kent has more on this story.
The night before the U.S. military captured Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro and his wife.
Mimi always had so I have a jelly case. I've had this case since I got this phone because I didn't want to crack my phone because I do that. She had a purple jelly case all the time. Purple jelly case. Pop-Up still has her phone. It sits on his shelf in the office. I don't know why.
Somebody somewhere placed an extremely well-timed bet. An anonymous user on the prediction market site Polymarket, where users can wager on nearly any topic, bet $32,000 that the Venezuelan president would be out of power by January 31st. The following morning at 4:21 a.m. Eastern, the president announced Maduro was in custody. And that user cashed out, making more than $400,000.
These markets are the wildest of the Wild West.
Lawyer Dennis.
So
I'm sorry.
There's a theory
it's not
going
funny.
around. Now,
Nothing was
opinion.
funny.
I'm not saying this is facts. Don't sue me. Don't put me in trouble. But there's a rumor going around that Steve Witkoff, the special envoy to the Middle East for the US, is actually the person behind this bet. Now, there's no, you know what I'm saying? I'm just going to read you this post, right? It says, insider who earned $400,000 from the overthrow of Maduro might be linked to Trump. It says, in the Trump community, they're discussing that an insider trader who earned around $400,000 on Polymarket by betting around $32,000 that Nicolas Maduro will leave the presidency of Venezuela by January the 31st, 2026. The analysis of this deal was published by a community member under the nickname Andrew Tenguai. He believes that such a bet was unlikely to be random, and in his opinion, it could have been made by someone connected to the circle of Stephen Charles Witkoff, one of the co-founders of the World Liberty Finance Project affiliated with US President Trump. Now, why the bet attracted attention? We're talking about the...
Because for a brief moment, when I just explained 5 minutes ago, at the end of 2024, the beginning of 2025, I was like really getting into crypto. Actually, I think it was right after the Trump coin, because it was like... It might have been I have no idea. I really don't know. When I downloaded all of these apps. When did I do that? I don't know. I was into crypto for a brief moment. And World Liberty Financial Coin is 100% a thing. There's like a bunch of derivatives of it as well. It's like definitely
the Polymarket market, where users were making predictions about whether Nicolas Maduro would leave the presidency of Venezuela by a specific date. The trader made a large bet just a few hours before the events, after which the outcome of this market became almost obvious. As a result, he made a profit of about 400 grand. It's precisely the combination of time, amount, accuracy, and forecast that raised questions in the community. But where did the money for the bet come from? Andrew Tenguai, whatever that means, described how the Polymarket account was funded. He found 2 wallets that the funds basically sent to the platform. Both wallets looked identical, no other activity. The money came from Coinbase and immediately went to Polymarket. From this, the author drew a simple conclusion. The addresses could have been created specifically for one transaction. The author paid special attention to one of the wallets. An address received 252 Solana from Coinbase on late January the 1st. After that, the author checked the deposits on Coinbase for the previous day and found an almost identical match. Another wallet deposited 252 Sol on the exchange. This happened 23 hours before the funds were withdrawn to the address that funded Polymarket. The difference in amount is minimal. The time interval is small, but according to the author, such coincidences are not coincidences at all. The wallet from which the money went to Coinbase contained the domains stvlu.sol and
you heard him.
Another address in this chain was associated with the domain sol100.sol. An analysis of its operations revealed that it processed transfers totaling $11 million to the wallet with the domain stephencharles.sol. What does Witkoff have to do with it? Well, the names St. Charles and Stephen Charles match the name of Stephen Charles Witkoff. Andrew Tenguai does not assert that the wallets belong to him, but the author is full of suspicions. The coincidence of names, large sums, and the fact all these addresses use the same Coinbase deposit details may indicate the involvement of people in the same circle. If so, someone in this chain may have had access to information unavailable to ordinary users. After the market closed, about $440,000 was withdrawn from Polymarket to Coinbase. A few hours later, I can't even keep a straight face. Fartcoin tokens worth about $170,000 were withdrawn from the exchange.
I forgot about
Fartcoin. Sent to
Fartcoin.
the stvlu.sol wallet. Fartcoin, this is a joke. They're literally farting.
No, they're dead ass.
In terms of
dude, there was a one. It was a coin that shot up to $1 in a day. It was called Donk. I think it was called Donk. It was a butt. It was like some guy who was like sprinting and had a fat ass. And it went to $1 in a day, and I saw it. I went to sleep. It shot up, or it what's the word? Like hit the bond curve. There's some word where like it crosses onto like the main chain. But it did it, oh my god, at like an hour after I went to bed. And then I woke up and I didn't check all day because I was tired from looking for the next runner. And like I saw that there was a runner. I missed the runner. I missed the one runner. Don't even stop. I have like PTSD from it. I can't do it.
Was received, the authors wonder whether this purchase was made in part from profits. What is the outcome? In the end, there's a chain of amazing coincidences, almost identical amounts for deposits and withdrawals with a difference of about a day, repeating names of wallets, large transfers between addresses, a short interval between winning and purchasing tokens. There's no direct evidence of insider trading. However, according to the author of the analysis, the whole picture looks too artificially stitched to be a simple coincidence. Yeah, it's a little bit sus, isn't it, folks? That's a little bit.
I would believe so.
Allegedly, in March 2026, a group of accounts reportedly earned over $1 million by correctly predicting the exact timings of airstrikes in Iran. An anonymous Polymarket accounts, several accounts, won $1.2 million on Trump's Iran strikes in suspicious bets. Oh, good. It's been less than 8 weeks since an anonymous account on Polymarket netted over 400 grand, successfully predicting Trump invading Venezuela and extracting Maduro. The mysterious bettor doubled down on their wager mere hours before United States aircraft launched the offensive in Iran, which led to at least 80 civilian and military casualties. It was an extremely suspicious situation in which it seems likely that somebody with insider info profited from deadly attacks, an egregious twist on warfare facilitated by a glaring regulatory vacuum that is yet to be meaningfully addressed. Now that the Trump admin has attacked Iran, the situation looks even worse. According to blockchain analytics company Bubble Maps, 6 Polymarket accounts made around $1.2 million in profit after successfully betting on the US striking Iran by the end of February, suggesting that an ethically appalling scheme is spreading behind closed doors. As Bloomberg reported, all 6 accounts were created just last month and exclusively bet on when Trump would be striking the sovereign nation. The bets were made mere hours before the first bombs fell on Iran's capital, Tehran. While on one account wasn't always successful, betting the US would take military action sooner. A subsequent bet of over 26 grand that the US would strike on Saturday won it more than 174 grand. Lawmakers were outraged by the news. It's insane this is legal, said Senator Chris Murphy on Blue Sky. People around Trump are profiting off this war and death.
Blue Sky is so painful to go on. It's still not cool yet. We're waiting. It's been 2 years? 3 years? I think it's been 3 years, and it's still not cool yet. Oh, it's like a millennial fest. It's not even like like Snowflakeville. Not even. It's just like they're not talking about shit on there. Like it's just like, what the fuck are y'all doing on here? The jokes are terrible. Barely any. There's like nobody black on there. Like it's not. I'm not. We need more black people on here. It's too boring. Dude, okay, it's been 3 years. Has it really? Oh my god, it's been 3 years since I made my account. That sucks. That sucks so much.
Legislation ASAP to ban this. Good luck with that one, folks. Beyond those suspicious accounts, many other users were sucked into the fervor of betting on bloodshed in Iran. Polymarket saw trading volumes for a single contract about the timing of Trump's strikes balloon to just shy of 90 million. The instance highlights how prediction markets allow a huge chunk of their users to gamble on geopolitical speculation, while a select few with insider knowledge benefit far more. Prediction markets are some of the first products that allow direct bets on geopolitical events, BubbleMap CEO said. In cases involving war or conflict, information can circulate within a broader circle before becoming public. Making matters worse is Polymarket facilitating anonymous betting through the use of crypto, making instances of insider trading difficult to identify, let alone police. Combine that with the fact that Polymarket generally has only required a wallet to trade, which allows for a high level of anonymity that can create incentives for informed participants to act early. I wonder who is involved. Wonder what kind of magnate or baron could be involved in this ridiculousness. Somebody else correctly made bets on the killing of Iran's supreme leader. Mega My Man made over $500,000 on the betting on the death of Iran's supreme leader. Okay, basically, just before the strikes, they made that perfect bet. Right, the trades drew scrutiny from Congress and critics of prediction markets who say the platforms invite people with access to classified info to profit on lethal military operations. On Polymarket alone, $500 million was traded over exactly when US forces would drop bombs in Iran. This being legal is insane, said Chris Murphy. He's trying to shut it down. He wants to introduce legislation. And the White House have denied anyone in Trump's orbit was behind the lucrative trades. The Trump family, however, does have ties to Polymarket. Donald Trump Jr., the president's son, is an advisor to Polymarket, and his venture capital firm 1789 Capital has invested millions into the controversial business. The Trump admin has dropped 2 federal investigations into Polymarket that were opened by President Joe Biden's officials. And it's the latest episode igniting debate about how government and military insiders can monetize state secrets. In January, an anonymous trader made hundreds of thousands of dollars placing suspiciously well-timed bets ahead of the arrest of Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro. A month later, authorities in Israel charged 2 people for using classified info to place on bets on Polymarket about upcoming attacks on Iran when the countries fought a 12-day war last June. The millions flowing into the market related to the toppling of Iran's supreme leader were made on overseas exchanges operated by Polymarket, meaning it's not even within the reach of legislators in Washington. What a coinky dink, eh? The Trump admin has granted approval for Polymarket to open a US-based platform, but it hasn't publicly launched. People are going to get rich. Okay, prediction markets have surged in popularity recently. They're federally regulated by the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, and they look at this as a futures contract, not gambling. Under US commodity trading laws, making trades based on death, war, and violence illegal. Those bets create a financial reward for violence and human suffering and geopolitical instability. You're not allowed to do that. That constraint was on display over the weekend in the way another major prediction market, Kalshi, responded to a market tied to when Khomeini would be out, a prospect that attracted 54 million in trades. And when Khomeini's death was confirmed, those who placed bets on Kalshi on the leader's ousting expected a payout, but it never happened. Instead, trading was paused while the company conducted a further review of the situation. The Kalshi CEO said they'd be refunding fees collected on the Khomeini market. We don't list markets directly tied to death, When there are markets where potential outcomes involve death, we design the rules to prevent people from profiting from the death. That's what we did here, they said. In messages sent out to users who placed bets before and after the Iranian leader's death, Kalshi said it would be issuing partial refunds amounting to the last traded price before the death was confirmed. So it did not run afoul of the US laws prohibiting markets where people can profit from death and assassinations. But this decision created an uproar among traders who felt like they'd been duped. They were all the more infuriated having watched the company heavily promote the Khamenei market for days on social media. Getting rugged on 100% correct prediction because of a fine print death carve out is wild, said a user. Centralized oracles will always bend over to compliance over reality. Others were less generous. They derided Kalshi's actions. They called the platform a scam. And people are basically saying that Congress need to stop it. Now, the Redditors have been reacting to this wild news and just this dystopian hellscape of a situation where people are actually gambling on deaths. And this was a post basically saying, I found Iran war insiders through tracking Polymarket activities for months. They said, so CoffeeZilla dropped a video on the 1.5 billion insider trading situation. The Bubble Maps investigation he featured found 7 connected Polymarket accounts betting on US and Israeli military operations with a 93% success rate, betting at 20% odds. 20 cent odds, meaning the consensus was 80% not going to happen, and winning for 2 years straight. I've been tracking this type of activity for months now. I do on-chain analytics and built a tool that scans every Polymarket trade, traces USDC funding on Polygon, and looks for the same kind of cluster patterns that Bubble Maps found. So far, it's processed 91,000 trades across 17,000 wallets, roughly $470 million in volume. The stuff CoffeeZilla talked about in the video, it's everywhere. There's a wallet that only bets on Iran and Lebanon
CoffeeZilla be on people's ass too.
They're betting on US and Iran ceasefire.
I think
by
it's
May
like in an
31st.
active.
They're betting on if Israel will launch ground offensives in Lebanon, US forces entering Iran. Exactly the type of markets that Bubble Maps flagged. 11 resolved bets. 11
case. Is it? Is that the word?
$820,000 in volume. 100.
He's against Logan Paul because he was
still
tearing him to shreds
as of today. Nick from Bubble Maps talked about how these accounts share funding sources, deposits, addresses. The data showed the same thing at scale. One single funder address connects to 7,200 proxy wallets on Polymarket. So it could just be one dude doing all of this, or one organization. Another one funds 956 wallets. The top non-bot wallets in the system are running at 87% win rates across 60 bets, with over 200 grand in profit. CoffeeZilla made the point that you can't prove who's behind a wallet from on-chain data alone, and that's true, but I can't tell you if it's a lieutenant, logistics guy, or someone's wife who got a phone call the night before, but what you can see is a statistical pattern. Wallets going 11 for 11 on geopolitical military events funded by the same sources, betting at the same times, on the same categories. That's not luck over 2 years. The tool, 2 years, yeah? 2 years? What happened 2 years ago? Who got in 2 years? Interesting. The tool is called Crowd Intel. There's full investigation reports, and you can see all of the suspicious activity. Saying, call me cynical, but I have absolutely no faith that these people will be brought to justice, at least not within the next 3 years. Hopefully, the SEC forces Polymarket to release all the identifying information tied to these accounts to federal prosecutors. In the meantime, crime is legal. There needs to be a new term for insider trading for prediction markets, precognition, minority report. It's bad. Okay, it's bad. And there are more and more exemplars. Okay, exclusive trader made nearly $1 million on Polymarket with remarkably accurate Iran bets. Right, seems like Polymarket and Kalshi's only point in existing is for people with insider knowledge to make money off of suckers who are left holding the bag. Okay, interesting. Says every action by this administration is accompanied by some of them cashing in. It's all a grift, folks. Predictive markets, FU. It's called gambling. I think we've heard of gambling before. Gambling's not a new thing. They're going to act like they invented gambling. Saying the market knew before the tweet. 5 minutes before Trump's announcement, 1.5 billion notional worth of S&P 500 futures are bought in a single clip. 192 million of notional oil futures were sold, more than 4 to 6 times any other trade size. During the market close, insiders profited from his lies in broad daylight. Profiteers in broad daylight. That's what's going on, okay? It says, I wonder what Martha Stewart's thoughts are on all of this, okay? What an effed up system, and no one does a thing about it, all right? Nothing's going to happen. Nothing is going to happen, okay? And just days ago, the SEC enforcement director reportedly resigned after allegedly calling for these investigations. The SEC enforcement director, Margaret Ryan, resigned last week, reportedly fought with agency bosses after calling for an investigation into Trump's family's misconduct. Nothing to see here, folks. Forcing someone to resign because they want to investigate your corruption is the most innocent behavior, all right? We need to get out from under this. The whole system is in crash and burn mode, all right? Hey, someone's making some money out of this. I wonder who. But despite the ethical concerns on betting on wars, Polymarket has defended its business model and they're going to keep things going. So survivors in the Middle East are using prediction markets to decide to seek shelter. Said advocates, Polymarket didn't answer questions from the Times of Israel about the details of the investigation, but representatives for Polymarket also didn't respond to Business Insider's request for comment. Advocates for prediction markets have said they encourage honesty by requiring users to put their money where their mouth is. Shane Copland, Polymarket's founder, said that people in the Middle East can use military strike markets to decide whether they want to sleep next to a bomb shelter. It's a joke. Apparently this is false. The Polymarket CEO claims that people might use prediction markets for that. Nobody is using them for that. Imagine using Polymarket to get everybody feeling safe then attacking. This is some dystopian shit right here. This planet sucks. Dystopia is the word, okay? I think this is really wrong. I think it's really out of line.
I used to think there was so much like balance until I was sitting in the kitchen at my old friend's house. We were, doing young adult things in the kitchen. And like I saw WW3 trending online and then people thought it was funny. And I was like scared as fuck. That was where my anxiety was already really bad, especially when my Mimi died. It was like you get this when your most important parent dies, you get this sense of unsafetyness. Like there's no real safety. But I was like, it was actually after lockdown when I saw people protesting lockdown over a virus that was killing people, but they didn't know anybody personally that was dying. But they were protesting lockdown, and that's where I was like, this is a dystopia, dude. Like, this is not, like, there's no, like, balance. Like, we live in a dystopia. It was, like, such a terrible realization. It's horrible. I was like, dude, this sucks. Like, it just got worse. So much worse now. Wow. Dude, we all saw some balloon-headed shaped man who just spreaded a whole bunch of bullshit, negativity, bullshit, bigotry, hatred, all sorts of outdated takes get shit in broad daylight. That was crazy. We were all traumatized by that. Like, nobody saw that coming. And then, like, conservatives are so fucking annoying. They, like, are desperate for opposition. And they're like, we're gonna start a civil war. We're gonna take the left down. Mind you, leftists don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. What? No way. Not over him. Stop. Well, we can't even investigate into it. They won't even tell us who did it. We know who did it. I want that Alex Jones video so bad, but I feel like it'd be so controversial. I knew his wife was behind it though. It was so obvious from the jump. Her demeanor is just off. It was already off. I mean, look at her. It's really like you don't have to hear her talk to know that something is wrong with her. You just have to look at her. Where is that? Is it still up? I'm gonna see if it's still up. If it's still up. Dude, I can't. Oh yeah, the Drewski video was so fucking funny. Super funny. He looks insane. It was like 2 days after he got. Like, that's way too fast. Way, way, way too fast. Way too fast. Where is it? Is it on? Okay, hold on. I'm gonna go back. I think it was a live broadcast. Stop it. Come on. Stop it. Come on. No. It's pissing me off. She's channeling my fucking PC and disconnecting my stream. No, don't tell me it's restarting. That's so annoying. Dude, it's legitimately not still going. It is. Am I just not live on Twitch? That's so fucking annoying. That's annoying. I don't have the patience for this. Oh, it just kicked me off of Twitch. And it won't reload, and now it's a completely different VOD, and I have to stop and start again. Like, what am I supposed to do? So annoyed that I even had to do that. Super duper annoying that I even had to do that. Wait. Alright. How do I even fix this? It just seems like it's just gonna be fucked up, even though I don't even have anything running. Like, it was, the FPS was not that fucked up last time. But, I guess. Girl, I guess. Girl, I guess.
Jesus. Good evening. My name is Erica Kirk.
Are you dead ass? Damn, that's so annoying. I can't even move the scroll to the side. Hello? Like, this is crazy. That's... I don't even like to joke about losing my significant other. I don't even like... We can't even... Dude, we were about to watch a Black Mirror... Because the Black Mirror season just came out. And we read the synopsis on one episode. And it was about a couple who found out one of them was terminally ill. And so they had to make the most of their life. I was like, no. I'm not watching that. I can't even watch films. And this woman, who's supposedly supposed to be his everlasting... Stop. Like, that was enough. That was... And like, yeah, you're saying it too fast. Dude, come on. I would still be in hiding right now. The way that happened, I would still be in hiding right now if I had nothing to do with it.
Charlie Kirk is my husband.
Is he? Really? Fucking psycho. I told y'all I don't like Aries moons. The only Aries moons I like are the ones I'm blood related to. And even they're a lot. My sisters, my dad, my 2 brothers. I'm related to a lot of Aries. Dude, I was almost an Aries moon. I think if I was born 8 hours later, let's see. If I was born 8 hours later, I would have been an Aries moon. I think that's the right. Oh, I was born 13 hours later. So I guess well, I'm at 22 degrees, so it's not. If it was under 15 degrees, then I wouldn't have almost been an Aries. But I'm a 3rd Deacon Pisces moon, so I was pretty close. But I'm not at a critical degree. There are some people that do have critical degree moon signs. But actually, I do have in sidereal, I do have critical degrees. I'm a 28 degrees Scorpio sun. No, I'm a 29 degree Scorpio sun. I gotta look it up. I have it in my folder. I have a human psychology map folder in my photo album that I can look at this. I'm a 29 degrees Scorpio sun, 28 degrees Aquarius moon, Leo rising at 26 degrees. So 26 is not a critical degree. Your critical degrees are 28, 29, 0, and 1. But since I'm a Leo rising in sidereal, that means my critical degree Scorpio sun at 29 degrees runs my chart, which means my Jasitha, because that's what it's that's the knack, is just Jayitha? Exactly. Which is like a really, really like startling knack. It's pretty funny. Yeah. But I don't have critical degrees in my tropical chart. Just enemy. Enemy pussy. Oops. I need to see how this plays for a second. Bitch. Hello. Why is it so fucking loud? I'm gonna see how this plays. If it starts to get all fucked up, then I'll stop playing. It's already fucked up. Dude, it's already fucked up. What do I do? Like, the delay is crazy. I'm not even playing. Oh my.